Hello everyone, RemedyX here, and today I wanted to talk about a CEDH Magic the Gathering deck that I have currently been playing for a while now, and that's Kinnan Prodigy. If you do not know what it is, right here, he states whenever a non-land permanent, whenever you tap a non-land permanent for mana, add 1 mana that permanent produced. So if you tap a non-land for, say, green mana, it makes another green mana. Now, if your mana dork could make green or blue, and you tap it for blue, it's only going to make 2 blue. You cannot split it. You cannot go 1 blue, 1 green. All right. So, yeah, he's really good. Essentially, you want to play a lot of mana dork creatures with him, and you want to win the game with some form of like infinite mana combo. All right. For some reason, my audio is not going through my headset, though. 1 second. That's not it. Well, I just really hope people can hear me right now. How do I get it to go through my headset? That is not it. Well, I'm going to have to just go like this. And if it doesn't work, I'll have to edit over it later. So, here, is this a little bright or is this too bright? That's a little bright for my liking. What if I back you up, tip you out? Sorry, guys, I have never streamed like this with a webcam before, so we're going to just see how this goes. Kinnan, yeah. I don't know if you can read him. No, not really. Maybe I can get this to focus. Nope, less focus. I think that's about as focused as I can get. Okay, so before I go any further on this, I am playing with some proxies. In CEDH especially, most people are okay with proxies. Okay, so yeah, just talk to your friends group before you make any decisions on proxies or not. My group is okay with it purely because I don't care what your budget is. I just want to play good Magic. All right, so warning now, there will be proxies. So Kinnan, that's your lead. Now, the most common Kinnan combo is Kinnan and Basalt Monolith. Basalt Monolith says, does not untap during your untap step. It is 3 mana for an artifact that says tap, add 3 mana to your mana pool. Pay 3 mana, untap Basalt Monolith. So Kinnan makes Basalt Monolith tap for 4 because it adds an extra. So it's make 4, untap it for 3, make 4, untap it for 3. You net +1 every single tap. So you can literally just infinitely do this. Okay, make infinite mana. Most common one that most people know about, right? So what am I doing to make mana? I guess that's where we start. I play a lot more mana creatures than most people do. Not just creatures, just mana producers. I play 21 things that produce mana that works with Kinnan's ability. Now, Kinnan also has an ability that says pay 5, a blue and a green, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may put a non-human creature card from among them into the battlefield, the rest to the bottom in a random order. That ability is not the focus of this deck, but I play with both. A lot of decks will lean into one or the other. Either I want to flip into some really big dummies and win the game, or I want to just make all the mana and combo off. I'm somewhere in between. Yeah, so overall, it is what it is. So what do I have for Kinnan hits? Regal Force. It says, enters the battlefield, draw a card for each green creature you control. This sometimes just refills your hand plus some. Like I've had this draw me like 8 cards before. I do play Consecrated Sphinx. Whenever an opponent would draw a card, I draw 2 instead. Really funny interaction if someone has Notion Thief, by the way. What happens is you have Consecrated Sphinx, they have Notion Thief. They go to draw a card, you draw 2. Notion Thief says you don't get to draw. Instead, they get to draw 1. But because they're going to draw 1, you're going to put 2 more on the stack. So he's going to have 2 Notion Thief triggers. You're going to have 1 Consecrated Sphinx, and then you're going to get another trigger. Basically, what this says is, because Notion Thief is not a May, and Consecrated Sphinx is, I'm going to infinitely put stacks of Consecrated Sphinx onto the stack. They're going to copy that with Notion Thief. They're going to draw through their deck. Mandatory. They cannot stop it unless they kill their own Notion Thief for Consecrated Sphinx. And, yeah, it's really dumb because they draw their entire deck out and lose. All right? You, on the other hand, after they're dead, you have an infinite amount of, not infinite, right? You have a stack per card that they drew, so per card in their deck, essentially. And you have a draw 2. So you then get to resolve as many of them as you want because it is a May. So you get to draw as many cards as you want and hopefully win the game. I've had it happen. It's real fun. Like I said, Regal Force. This deck does focus on card draw quite a bit because I am going to be making so much mana. So if I can just play these big dummies, sure, why not? Nezahal, Primal Tide. Cannot be countered. You have no max hand size. Whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell, draw a card. That happens a lot. Discard 3 cards. Exile Nezahal, the Primal Tide. Return to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. It is just a very resilient threat that gets to kind of beat in a bit. A 7/7 is huge for CEDH. People don't play many creatures, okay? Some decks literally play like 1 creature and they want to polymorph into something. Like they play their commander, they polymorph it into a Tidesprout Tyrant. So notably, I'm not playing Tidesprout Tyrant. You can 100% play Tidesprout in this deck. I don't. I haven't really toyed with it. I probably should toy with it. This is a deck I've been tweaking here and there for a long time now, all right? I have a Torrential Gearhulk here somewhere. Oh, I think I put him in the interaction pile. Oh, that's something I want to talk about. Where did my Torrential Gearhulk go? Did I pass him? Yeah, there it is. Okay, so it's Torrential Gearhulk. Flash for 5/6 for 6. Enters the battlefield, you may cast and target instant card from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. If it would be put into your graveyard this turn, exile it instead. It's just another counterspell on a body. It happens on the enter the battlefield triggers, not a cast trigger. So Kinnan, if you look at the top 5 and you get a Gearhulk, you can counter things with it, which is really nice. And in the same vein, I am playing Deluvian Primordial. 7 mana for a 5/5 flyer. When it enters the battlefield, you may enters the battlefield for each opponent. You may cast 1 target instant or sorcery card from that player's graveyard without paying its mana cost. If you cast it this way, it would be put into the graveyard, exile instead. So I'm going to cast my opponent's counter spells with this one. And with 3 opponents, I've gotten 3 counter spells with this and just said, I win this stack. All right. So this is a little my tech. Not many people are playing Deluvian Primordial. If anyone wants to take a better look at them. Oh, that actually came into focus pretty good. Not perfect, but pretty good. Okay. So I should also say my Kinnan deck is kind of reactive. I want to play a lot of counter spells. And in that vein, I am playing Mystic Snake and Frilled Mystic. They are just creatures that are a counterspell. You can flip into them with Kinnan. And if you're looking here, I essentially have 4 creatures I can flip into to do counterspells. So sometimes that alone is enough interaction for you to win a game. Yeah. I've snuck out a win very frequently by stopping the opponent trying to combo off right before me by flipping into one of these. So, yeah. Also, you can like Court of Calling for one, though not my preferred thing for Court of Calling. So now that we talked about some of the things you flip into, encounter spell creatures, let's talk about the mana dorks I'm playing. I got Paradise Druid, Sylvan Caryatid. Essentially the same creature, not really, but kind of. They're both 2 mana, and they tap for any color of mana. Sylvan Caryatid is hexproof and has Defender for a 0/3. Paradise Druid is a 2/1, but it is hexproof as long as it is untapped. So it is worse than Sylvan Caryatid, but important in this deck is that you can make blue or green with your mana dorks. Explain why in a little bit. I have Ilshayan Caryatid. I don't know how you freaking pronounce that. It is a 1/1. Tap, add 1 mana of any color. If you control a creature with power 4 or greater, add 2 mana instead. So I have some of these that produce 2 mana. And that is because they can win with an infinite combo without Kinnan. That is important. I also Gyre Engineer, same thing, and Incubation Druid, same thing. They produce more than 1 mana, and they can make blue and don't need Kinnan to make multiple mana. Why is that so important? That is because here in my combo pile, I play Freed from the Real and Pedman's Aura. Now, Freed from the Real, because it's the simpler one, 3 mana, blue and 2. Can you see that? Yeah. Pay a blue and tap enchanted creature. Pay a blue, untap enchanted creature. So what it does is Incubation Druid has her counter on her, right? You have a Freed from the Real on her. Tap it, add 3 blue to your mana pool. Use 1 blue to untap it. Make 3 blue into your mana pool. You now have 5. Use 1, go down to 4. Tap it, go up to 7. Infinite mana. 2 card, infinite mana without my commander. Same thing here. Now here, it's a little worse because you're only going to leave green in your... You're only leaving green in your pool, right? So, this does still get you there most of the time. This one's a little more awkward without Kinnan because you don't get the infinite blue. You get infinite green, and that is it. But with infinite green, you can Court of Calling. You can play Kinnan, right? Doesn't matter what his commander tax is. With 1 blue from your land, you just play Kinnan. So, because he's in your command zone. Now, Pedman's Aura, basically the same thing, but better. It's double blue and 1 instead of single blue and 1, so its cost is a little more restricted. But it has the untap enchanted creature. It also has pay a blue. Enchanted creature gains flying until the end of the turn. Can be relevant. Sorry, my cat is making some noise here. Hi, you see him barely in the back corner here? He's a real chunker. Yeah. It also has pay a blue. Enchanted creature can't be the target of spells or abilities this turn. That is huge. You can save your creature that is enchanted with this. And then pay a generic. Enchanted creature gets +1, -1, or -1/+1. You can make your creature an infinite big butt. You don't normally do the +1, -1 because then you'll kill your creature. But the -1/+1 makes you basically a 0 infinite. So that is also really solid. Cat, just relax, all right? So yeah, making blue mana is very important. So this Caryatid, Elysian Caryatid, however you pronounce this, is probably the worst of these effects that I'm playing because I don't always have a 4-power creature in play. It is actually not super common, but when it does happen, it's good. But with Kinnan in play, it is taps for 2 blue because of Kinnan, infinite, you know? So it's still really solid. So these are a couple of the ways that I make infinite mana. Now, I'm playing a lot more mana rock stuff still. So Bird of Paradise, same vein, can make blue. With Kinnan, makes 2 blue, infinite mana. Fin Hornells does not. It's just quick acceleration. It is really good. Reclusive Taxidermist, or with this version, Quincy Harker. It gets 3/2 as long as there are 4 or more creature cards in your graveyard. That does tend to happen, and it ends up making it a 4/4. A 4/4 body is kind of relevant in CEDH, and it does tap for 1 of any color. It's real solid. Again, Elvish Mystic, Land of War Elves. They're just Accelerants. Boreal Druid, same thing. Accelerants. And Marleaf Pixie, because why would I not be playing Marleaf Pixie? Just Simic for a 2/2 flyer that taps for blue or green. So it's real solid. So these are my infinite mana with Freed from the Real stuff. Now I am playing more mana acceleration still. I am playing Mana Vault, Basalt Monolith, because that alone is infinite mana. Lotus Petal, because fast mana. Carpet of Flowers, because I verse a couple blue opponents, so they generally have a good chunk of islands. Mana Crypt, because it's Mana Crypt. This is a proxy of Mox Diamond. Discard a land, and then it taps for any color. This is Chromox. This is real. It is a gold border, so it is not tournament legal, but it is a real version, I guess you would say. When it enters play, you imprint, so you exile a card from your hand, a non-artifact, non-land card from your hand, and it taps for any color that is in that card. So if I get rid of a Mana Dork, a green Mana Dork, it will tap for just green. If I get rid of like Marleaf Pixie, it'll do blue or green. So Mox Opal taps for any color, but it only can tap if you have Metalcraft, which is 4, right? Add 1 mana, activates ability only with 3 or more artifacts. So it does not exclude itself. Okay, so 3 or more, counting itself. So it only really requires 2 more. And then Soul Ring, because it's Soul Ring, guys. Soul Ring's real good. Now you might be seeing over on this pile, there's a little collector oof here, which turns off all those artifacts I just talked about. But it does not turn off this fat stack of creatures. So your opponents are really going to rely on their artifacts. I play the artifacts purely because I can turbo out some wins. This deck can possibly turn 1 win, by the way, you guys. So Collector Oof, though, if the game is like going out a little bit, turning off your artifacts is not bad because you have creatures that do it. Turning off your opponent's artifacts is really bad for them. Collector Oof is very, very good. Now, you see this mountain. This is a proxy. I actually don't have a legitimate proxy for it. It is Endurance. I don't have a way to bring it up here, I don't think. Here, I'll do this. I'll just move the camera here. So hopefully you guys can see this all right, because I can't see what you guys see right now. Endurance. It is a 3 mana green 1 for a flash reach creature elemental incarnation. It has, when it enters the battlefield, up to 1 target player puts all the cards from his or her from their graveyard on the bottom of their library in a random order, and you can evoke it by exiling a green card from its hand, from your hand. Sorry. So it's just exile a green card and get rid of an opponent's graveyard. That is super, super good, purely because Underworld Breach. It is an Underworld Breach tech card I play. It is super, super good at dealing with Underworld Breach or Flashback. Like, there's a lot of things that it actually deals with. Graveyards are very important in CEDH. So, in the same vein, I am playing Scavenging Ooze. Right here. Sorry, you can't see its power toughness very well. It is a 2 mana 2/2 with pay a green, exile a card from a graveyard. If it was a creature card, put a 1/1 counter on Scavenging Ooze, and and you gain 1 life. So you want to exile their creatures for it technically, but it is pay a green exile, the Savine's Reclamation, the Underworld Breach, the whatever is important kind of thing. I am playing a Thieving Skydiver, which is 2 mana, kicker, X. Kicker cannot be 0. Enters the battlefield, you steal an artifact from an opponent with converted mana cost X or less. So this can be 3 mana, steal a Mana Crypt, or steal a Mox, or like Mox Diamond, the legal Mox, guys. Or it could be stealing Arcane Signet, Soul Ring, all kinds of things. Basalt Monolith, Grim Monolith. There's a ton of artifacts that are played in CEDH, all right? So this card is actually very, very good. And then other than that, a lot of this is my counterspell package. I am playing a Rex Sage to get rid of problematic enchantments that might lock me out, like a Stacks deck kind of thing. But I'm playing Dispel, Pact the Negation, Swan Song, Mana Drain, Disallow, Force of Negation, Veil of Summer, Counterspell, Mental Misstep, Arcane Denial, Flusterstorm, Force of Will, and then that's all counterspell stuff, right? And then I'm playing Rabid Hybridization to get rid of problematic creatures on the board. It's not fantastic, and it is probably a piece I would definitely replace, but I don't have much on-board interaction for creatures. I was really having a problem with Hull Breacher and Opposition Agent in specific, so it's kind of there for them. I am playing Corrosive Grip for artifacts and enchantments, and I'm playing Return to Nature, which is artifact enchantment or a card from the graveyard. So someone just bins their Savine's Reclamation with a gamble or something, you pitch it. So I am very much geared against a lot of my meta, which does have a good bit of Underworld Breach. It has a bit of Necromancy. It has some counterspell matchups. It has a Jara deck that likes to storm off with artifacts. So, you know, it has a pretty decent variety. It is not the meta per se. Yes, Cat, you are fine. All right, go sit down. Anyway, sorry. So yeah, that's my interaction package and my creature package and my artifacts. So we've talked about all of that. Now, how do I win the game, right? It's going to be this deck. Thassa's Oracle is the most common win con right now in CEDH, I think. It is just you deck yourself, you win the game. Or your deck is lower than your Blue Devotion. How do I deck myself? Prophet of Distortion. It is a 1 blue for devoid, 3 and colorless to draw a card. It's just a creature that sits there for 3 and a colorless to draw a card. Real solid. Thrasios, basically another version. Pay 4 mana, scry 1, reveal the top card of your library. If it is a land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped. Otherwise, draw a card. So, card draw. Spectral Sailor. This is basically just another copy, except this one does require blue mana. It is blue and 3 for a 1/1. Or sorry, it's 1 mana for a 1/1 with flash. Spirit Pirate. It has pay 3 and a blue to draw a card. They're basically all the same cost. They're all 4. Thrasios is the best because it's just 4 of any mana. Spectral Sailor's a blue and 3, and Prophet of Distortion is a colorless specific. It does have to be colorless. So, now how do I draw? Well, infinite mana. I've already showed you the Freed from the Reels, the Penman's Aura, the Basalt Monolith. I do have Bloom Tender here, which is just another version of making multiple colors of mana. Quarian Ranger. It doesn't go infinite, but it returns a forest to its owner's hand to untap target creature. Activate this ability only once per turn. So I can untap my Bloom Tender, get another tap out of it to make 3 more mana. So it's solid. Labman, or not Labman, sorry, Jace. I replaced Labman with Jace. Notably, Kinnan cannot hit humans. Laboratory Maniac is a human. So I decided if I was going to play one of them, I was just going to play Jace. Because Jace also has the same thing. If you draw a card and your library has no cards in it, you win the game instead. But it also has target player puts the top 2 cards of their library into their graveyard, draw a card, and -8, which is draw 7 cards. If your library has no cards in it, you win the game. So, yeah, he's just another, hey, I win the game button. How do I get the mana requirements? So, as you've seen, I had Basalt Monolith, which only makes generic mana or colorless mana. What if I have Spectral Sailor in play instead? Well, I have things like Prismite. It's pay 2, add 1 mana of any color. So I make 1 million colorless mana. I then take that and divide it by 2, so 500,000, and I can do 500,000 of whatever color I want. So it filters it through. Same thing is Treasure Vault. XX sacrifice Treasure Vault, create X treasure tokens. It is an artifact land. It's real solid. It was really good. What if I don't want to win the game by simply drawing out my deck? Walking Ballista. By far the easiest way to win in this deck. Just make infinite mana, slam a bajillion Walking Ballista, remove counters to kill your opponents. Super easy. Now, as you've seen, I have a lot of mana dorks in the deck. So, a fun little combo is Intruder Alarm. It is a 3-drop enchantment that says creatures do not untap during their controller's untap step. Whenever a creature comes into play, untap all creatures, not just your creatures, all creatures. So, what this does is you can tap your mana dorks down for mana, flip with Kinnan, grab a creature, untap all your mana dorks, and hopefully you have floating mana still there to remain. It's really good. This card allows some like pseudo storm wins. Okay, I tap all my mana dorks, I make 13 more mana or something like that, some like crazy amount, right? And then I flip with Kinnan, I hit a creature, I untap them all. And then I tap them all for 13 more. I only used 7, so I have 20, 20 exactly or something like that. But yeah, super, super, super good. Definitely an underrated card. Okay, and it works really well in Kinnan. Now, I do verse a Izami deck that has tap and untapped wizard you control, draw a card. It's a trap. Don't play Intruder Alarm when they are playing a zombie. If they have a zombie in play specifically, they will draw their entire library and counter everything you play. Notably, Kinnan, the creature that you put in play, cannot be countered. They can counter the activated ability, but as soon as you start looking at the top 5 cards of your library, they cannot counter because it is put into play. It does not use the stack. The ability goes on the stack. You grab your creature and it goes right into play. You resolve the effect. So that's that. This was like the counterspell creatures and stuff like that. Okay. So this deck here is like card selection, card draw, whatever you want to call it. Oops, I missed that. Fierce Guardianship was supposed to be in the counter spells. So obviously we're playing Rhystic Study because Rhystic Study is super good. And with that, Mystic Remora. If you don't play Mystic Remora, you really should. It's like 50 cents. Pick it up. Sylvan Library. This is real. It is white border, though. It is old. It is super good. If you don't know Sylvan Library, you may draw 2 cards during your draw phase. You may draw 2 extra cards during your draw phase. If you do so, put 2 cards you draw on this turn back on top of your library. You may pay 4 life per card you wish to not be put back, basically. So you brainstorm every single draw step. Except if you want to keep the cards instead of putting them back on top, you just pay 4 life. I often just take 8 life and say, okay. I do notably have Brainstorm. So this can put any card in your hand back on top. So if you draw like some of your big dummy thing that you don't want to have in your hand, you can put it back on top and stuff like that. You can flip into things with Kinnan, that kind of stuff. I have had my opponent go to, is it Thoughtseize that gets creatures? I think it's Thoughtseize that gets creatures. And the only creature I had in my hand was my Frilled Mystic, right? So I brainstormed in response to put Frilled Mystic back on top of my library, and then they went to combo off, so I got to activate Kinnan and no Frilled Mystic was on top. So there's some really cool interactions with Brainstorm. It's not like the strongest card in the deck by any means, but it is really good. Ghostly Pilfer. This is one not a lot of people actually, to my knowledge, really play. Whenever Ghostly Pilfer, it's a 1 blue and 1 for a 2/1 Spirit Rogue creature. Whenever Ghostly Pilfer becomes untapped, you may pay 2 mana. If you do, draw a card. Whenever an opponent casts a spell from anywhere other than their hand, draw a card. This works against graveyard decks that want to play things from their graveyard. This works against commanders. People are playing partners, guys. It's 2 draws per partner they play per time they play them. All right? You get to draw quite a bit off this card. And then discard a card. Ghostly Pilfer cannot be blocked this turn. It is unblockable damage for 2 that when you untap it, you can draw a card. So it's real solid. I really, really like Ghostly Pilfer. All right. And then last one you've seen probably is Academy Ruins. This is in there because people don't like your Basalt Monolith. People don't like your Walking Ballista. Those are ways you're trying to win the game. Academy Ruins is a no-brainer because if they kill it, you put it back on top of your library. It's super good. It's a legendary land that has tap at a generic, colorless, or generic and a blue. Tap, put target artifact card from your graveyard on top of your library. Just gets your everything back. It's a super, super good card. If this is not in your mana base in a Kinnan deck, I don't know what you're doing. Like, it's a free spell. It doesn't even sack itself. You can literally play a value Walking Ballista for like 20, right? And that's not even hard to do in Kinnan. Shoot things down, shoot your opponent in the face, put it back on top of your library. Do it again. Like, play Academy Ruins, guys. It is so underrated for Kinnan. All right. And then we get our tutors. So, Court of Calling. This actually should be, what is it? They made it in War of the Spark. What is it called? Something of Domination. Hour of Domination, I think. Oh, Devastation. Hour of Devastation, is that it? No, that was a set. One second. I'll find what it's called. Oh, shoot. Finale. It's Finale of Devastation, isn't it? One second. I want to say that's it. Yep, Finale of Devastation. So Finale of Devastation is green X. Search your library for a creature card with converted mana cost X. It's basically the same thing as Court of Calling, except without Convoke. But if X is 10 or more, your creatures get +X, and haste until the end of the turn. So if you have infinite mana, you search your library for any card, your creatures all gain +1,000,000, and yeah, you just swing through and kill everyone. I'm currently playing Chord, just because I'm too lazy. That's basically it. I just haven't taken the time to get the proxy. Yeah. So Court of Calling, it's super good. It is 3 mana X Convoke, so you can tap creatures to produce mana for it. Search your library for a creature card with converted mana cost X or less. Put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. So this can tutor up. The main thing that I tutor with it is Trophy Mage, because Trophy Mage grabs Basalt Monolith. It enters and grabs a 3-drop artifact. Trophy Mage is a human. It is like probably the only human in the deck. I think, unless what's his name's a human. Yeah, I'm playing Quincy, or well, whatever it is, Reclusive Taxidermist. He's a human, but other than that, I think that's like all the humans in the deck, and I probably should have looked at that and maybe cut him because he's human. Because Kinnan hits non-humans. So Trophy Mage is like super good. So Court of Calling, grab Trophy Mage kind of thing. Same vein, Whirl of Invention. It is the artifact version of Court of Calling. It has blue X, improvise, so you can tap artifacts for mana, just like Convoke, except it's artifacts instead of creatures. Search your library for an artifact card with converted mana cost X or less. Put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. Hey. This just puts Basalt Monolith into play. They have to counter this because they can't counter the Basalt Monolith coming into play. So this gets countered all the time. Just as a warning. Neoform. Neoform, I often end up sacrificing a 1-drop to go grab either Thrasios for my draw outlet, Prismite to make my color filtering, or I grab Incubation Druid. Incubation Druid specifically because it puts a 1/1 counter on whatever you grab. Incubation Druid will tap for its 3 mana, which with Kinnan is actually 4. I'm playing Noxious Revival. Not really a tutor, but it does just put like a card from your graveyard on top of your library for 2 life instead of mana. It is an instant, so it's super good. They got rid of your super important piece. You just put it back on top of your library and you get it next turn. So, super good. This is a proxy of Worldly Tutor. I actually quite like the art of this. Search your library for a creature, reveal it, put it on top of your deck. After you shuffle. You shuffle, then you put it on top of your deck. Same thing as Mystical Tutor, except this grabs an instant or sorcery, puts it on top of your library. And Eldritch Evolution. Eldritch Evolution is basically the same thing as Neoform. You sacrifice a creature and you search a library for a different creature. Now, Neoform is it has to be 1 CMC higher. So if you sack a 1-drop, you have to get a 2-drop. You cannot get another 1-drop. Eldritch Evolution, on the other hand, is X or less, where X is 2 plus the sacked thing. So if I go grab or sack a 1-drop, I can go grab a 3 CMC or a 2. So I can grab the Trophy Mage that gets me my Basalt Monolith, or I can go grab the Incubation Druid that taps for a bunch of mana, or whichever one I want. So Eldritch Evolution is more flexible. Both are sorceries, so that kind of sucks. A little bit of tech with Worldly Tutor, by the way. You can tutor with Worldly Tutor to put things on top of your deck and then grab them with Kinnan. So super good. All right. And that's about it. I have just a generic mana base, as many fetchable lands as I can. I am playing a proxy of Gaia's Cradle, Mana Confluence. Oh, this is kind of something cool that I've been toying with. I don't think it's going to stay for very long, but Lair of the Hydra. Can you see that? It says, if you control 2 or more other lands, it enters the battlefield tapped. So this wants to be one of the first 2 lands you play. Tap for a green, or pay X in a green. Until the end of the turn, it becomes a XX Hydra. It is still a land. X cannot be 0. So if I have 12 mana and I have nothing to do, I dump 12 into here. So X is 11 and a green. I make an 11/11 Hydra and start swinging. Combat is definitely a very real win con in this deck. It is not for most CEDH decks, but this one specifically it is. So, and that's about it. That is my Kinnan deck. Super, super important, guys. Academy Runes. This card has never failed to impress me so far. All right. Ghostly Pilfer, kinda not super. It's really good. It's not as good. Things people aren't playing. Consecrated Sphinx. I love it. Maybe it's just a pet card for me. I don't know. For the most part, this is a kind of standard Kinnan deck, but it's a very reactive version of it. I want to pass my turn, do things on my opponent's turn. I want to be activating Kinnan and getting as many creatures into play with Kinnan as I can. All right. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any cards that you would like to see me try, put it in the description. Or not description. Yeah, description. Comments. Just let me know if you think something super cool. Cards that I'm currently looking at trying is Subtlety. It's the blue version of Endurance. It has 4 mana, flash flying, enters the battlefield, put up to 1 target creature spell or planeswalker spell. When it enters the battlefield, choose up to 1 target creature spell or planeswalker spell. Its owner puts it on the bottom of their library. So not a lot of people play creatures or planeswalkers in CEDH. So if you get really important hits, the ones they play are really important, right? So you get to like tuck them and do some really good things. So it's solid, but I currently am not playing it. Gnawbone is very notable. It's something that I'm probably going to end up trying. Maybe replace Nezahal with it. I don't know. So yeah, just let me know what you guys think. If there's anything you would want me to try or you think is good, let me know. And yeah, this was Remedy X for all things nerdy, and have a good one.